Well, hello, and welcome once again to the Far From Normal radio show. And I am joined once again by my brother from another mother, Mr. Bud Veno.
Yo, and you stole my line, J Money Moss, my brother from another mother. April 10th, 2018. J Money Moss, awesome show coming up. We've got a big one, a tearjerker. I can feel it already. Before we get going, though, my sister from another Mr. Florida, Jessie Weiner. How you doing, Jess?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good.
One of these days I'll get a crazy introduction like Bud has.
Well, see, I told the panel, I said, I'm going to make everybody smile. That's my goal. I see smiles. So, success money, Moss. Awesome. Excited as usual.
That's
Let's
absolutely
rock,
true. Absolutely true. And we have on this evening with us a very special young lady who's been through basically hell and back again. Let's just put it that way. Miss Stephanie Tilley, how are you doing this evening, Stephanie?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing amazing.
Thanks for asking.
Yes, we're so delighted that you're here this evening. I know my co-host as well would definitely like to thank you for coming on this evening.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Stephanie, I feel like we know each other already. We had some banter already.
We're best friends, right?
Yes, that's right. Best friends already. We're connected. So we're
on the
honored
count
to
of
have
three.
you.
On the count of three, name your favorite dinosaur. 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
Yeah, well, hey. What? And Jim Cropper, see, we'll say hi to Jim out there. He just mentioned
Hi, Jim.
Hey, Jim, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, it's awesome to have you on. You are a pillar of strength, ma'am. You are a pillar of strength. I'm in awe of you, as we all are. And Jay had mentioned you, as I was explaining to my wife last night, talking about the show. Jay had mentioned you a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, a long time ago. And it was so long ago that I didn't totally make the connection. When he was talking about your recent victory. And then everything came together, and I said, wow, what an inspiration. Thank you, as Jay said, humbled, honored to have you on. Again, pillar of strength. Thanks. Jay?
Exactly. And I want to say I got in touch with Stephanie probably, it was September of last year, I believe, in reference to she was needing some help with her case. And then we kind of corresponded back and forth, and then she let me know about her story. And so I think it's absolutely imperative to start this off by showing some of your story. That way people can kind of relate to what we're talking about when we're talking about strength and empowerment and those type of things. So here, I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick, and I want to set this video right up for everyone to be able to see. All right, so I want to put you on mute for just 1 second, and we'll be right back on here.
I don't remember the crash, but there were pictures, videos, phone calls, text messages right before my accident. So even if, I don't know for a fact if my phone was in my hand at the time of the crash, but I can only assume that it was. I had a poor habit of using my phone while driving, and I didn't realize the impact it would have on not only myself, but the people that were in my life.
We'd been in Florida 2 weeks, and we were on our way to our friends when we got the call. And that was about 10:30 in the morning, and at 2 o'clock we had my wife, Pam, on a plane headed back here. And then I went back and packed up our camper and started for home.
It was hard. I mean, I had the phone number to call the nurse at the intensive care, so I called and they told me that she was still en route from Lancaster, but they really couldn't tell me anything more than that, and just not knowing anything more than that is really a hard thing to go through. The neurosurgeon told me she had a 50-50 chance of being able to get back to a halfway normal life. He said, you know, there was also a chance that she may be in a nursing home the rest of her life. I mean, but you just have to feel that everything is going to be okay. It's the only thing you can do.
When Stephanie first came here, she was pretty significantly impaired. Lacked a lot of strength, a lot of balance, a lot of coordination. So we started at a pretty low level, working just on sitting, trying to develop whatever strength she had and progress from there. We were soon able to stand and start working on walking. We progressed from walking to the parallel bars to walking outside of the bars with assistance from myself helping her, and then we're eventually able to progress to walk without her holding on to me.
The progress, once she got over to Dot Hall, every other day, I was just blown away by the improvement. I still remember the time I saw you move your feet for the first time. She was in the wheelchair and she was begging me to go home, and I said, you have to be able to walk. And she grabbed hold of that tray and leaned forward and looked down at her feet, and she moved her feet inward. And it just... I said, you're on your way, but you just got to go a little bit farther. I'll never forget that.
Like, it was definitely nice going up there to Dot Hall and seeing her and helping her. Like, I would say, oh yeah, Dad, can we just stay there the whole night? Lily would ask that too, and then we would all forget we had homework. So, you know, so that was sort of funny, but you know, a couple bad grades in math isn't that bad.
Stephanie was consistently determined throughout to make as much progress as she could while she was here. And she made a lot of progress while she was here. Again, not every single patient starts where she started and ends up where she ultimately ended up by the time she left DOT, which is a testament to how hard she was able to work and follow through with us here during her stay.
My injuries were so severe that they had to think the worst. They had to think the worst. A severed spine and a brain injury, a TBI, traumatic brain injury, you don't know. And everything exceeded. I exceeded their expectations, and they said that regularly. But it was a journey. I can't believe this is hard. The things that they were having me do, I didn't think should be hard for me. And I thought, geez, if it gets any harder, I can't do it. And every time I would think, this is too hard, I would imagine if my daughters were sitting there watching me, would they want to see me fail? Would they want to see me struggle? And so they gave me a little more momentum every day. It was a little harder, but it didn't feel like it was harder. I was getting closer to my goal.
Genesis Core is really helping her a lot, even though she only goes 2 days a week. She said she feels like she's getting as much out of that as she did Dodd 5 days a week. So they're both miracle programs to me.
She's a walking miracle. I mean, she is. She's a walking miracle. She still has a long way to go, but she's walking, she's talking, you know, she's getting around. I mean, that's all we can ask for right now. Emma stepped up to the plate. She's the 12-year-old, you know, she helps her mom and do things. And when she first got home, she was by her side, sat with her and, you know, helped her around and, you know, whatever she needed. Lily stepped up too. Lily helps her mom. I mean, they need their mother more than anything, you know, because they look up to her so much. But yeah, it's been tough. They both had to go through a lot. And they still got they still got a lot to go through.
I was so thankful for my parents that they were able to help me out in a time like this, but I had a job, I had 2 cars, I had a house, I had 2 daughters, it was all gone. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's a lot of memories. It's a lot of memories. It was so hard to see my house so empty. Seeing it empty I felt empty. Because that's where my daughters and I had created a home. When I'm able to provide for my daughters on my own, when I can drive them places, when I can create a home for them, that's when I'll feel at most like myself.
It's a life-changing thing for everybody. But like I said, our goal now is to get her back up on her feet. And whether she'll ever drive, we don't know. Will she go back to work? We don't know. A lot of it's up to her too. How far does she want to take this? Will she ever regain everything? We don't know. We're just thankful for what we have. I mean, that's all we can do at this point, you know.
I've seen on TV where people didn't have hope, you know, and I can't imagine it not having any hope at all. So that little bit of hope we had, I cherished it. She's strong-willed and she needs her independence. She's not one to rely on people much. She likes doing things on her own, and that fighting spirit's what's keeping her going. I mean, she's not one to give up and set back. She's given it all she's got, definitely.
My car looking the way it looks, my van looking the way it looks, I don't need to remember that. I just need to remember what I should learn from it. According to what that looks like, I shouldn't be here. That's a reminder to me not to take my life for granted, because I almost lost it. I didn't think that I would be walking by myself this quickly. I thought it would be a year or so. And just all of my goals have become closer to me. Every day is a victory. That's how I view it now. I'm not defeated every day anymore. There was a period in time where I thought I was defeated every day. And now I'm awake and I'm alive.
So we are back now on the Far From Normal radio show speaking with Stephanie Tilley, and I want to definitely say this. Most amazing video. It was very well put together in how they did it and accomplished all of that, but also your story. First thing, definitely message that we got to get out there is cell phone usage while driving. Please do not do that. This story is so empowering to me, because I'm just telling you, I cannot stress enough to you, when I watched that video for the first time, it was like, okay, a light went off for me, because as an advocate in this movement, my only goal or structure at all was to say exactly what your mom said. You're an empowering person. All I need to do is give you some tools. All anybody in this movement needed to do was to give you some tools, and you can learn, and you can do this, and you can grow. And a lot of this, when we talk about advocates of the movement, we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make it drink. And we always say that a lot in this movement. You are drinking. And you are taking that and you are using it to your benefit. And I'm telling you right now, I'm amazed at you and what you've accomplished already. And what we're going to talk about that you've accomplished on top of that is just amazing with your with the other issues. But the first thing that I wanted to ask you, do you have any memories of that crash? Because I know we kind of talked about that earlier. And actually, I had to cut out a part, the first part of the video when you're singing, and you had a little bit of story about that because you were actually singing and FaceTiming to an ex-boyfriend, I believe.
Yes, I was singing Spider Webs, and I was also posting on Facebook for everyone to be careful because the roads were really bad. And I don't have memory. I know that the pictures that I've looked at, the things that I posted on Facebook, that kind of sparks a memory. I don't specifically remember it, but I will say that I did on Christmas Eve. I was driving on the road that I crashed on, and I had a flashback, and it was surreal. It just.
Yeah. Well, Jay, if I could real quick, first of all, a little secret. I thought I had seen the video on YouTube before, but that's irrelevant. I had Jay forward me the video, and I actually, when I thought about it for a second, Stephanie, I decided once I confirmed with Jay that he was going to play the entire video. I purposely didn't watch it until we were live here, just to kind of get that overall kind of fresh feeling to watch it in its entirety. And I got to say, you are the walking Rocky Balboa. And I thought of that when you said you had to get, because of your girls. I thought of that scene, Jay, and Rocky Balboa. What is it you said to the kid? Get up, get up. You are amazing. And I will also say, Jay, you said we would need tissues, but I got to give you some slack off the air because you didn't say it would be that early. Because I also, a lot of it, you say things are going to be true, but also I didn't expect to get a lump in my throat. Amazing is the only superlative that I can use, Jay. Jessie, I don't know if you saw it beforehand, but amazing perseverance. I mean, unreal.
I actually haven't seen that video either. And I'll admit, my kids kind of got on me the other day. I'm really, really, really bad about texting and driving, and my phone never stops. It never stops. So for me, I guess it doesn't take too much for me to start to listen.
Yeah, and I will say too quickly, Jay, hats off to your parents. They seem like amazing, loving, awesome, supportive parents. You're very blessed, both of you, all of you.
They really are. They're they have stood behind me from day one.
Oh, you can see it, but more so you can feel it. It's tangible.
I'm totally
palpable.
blessed.
Oh, absolutely. And Lily and Emma are absolutely wonderful. And you are, Stephanie, the great word somebody used, great adjective. You are charming. You are absolutely charming. So thank you for joining us. Unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back to the video just a little bit and ask you, so when you had a 50-50 chance of recovery or being in a nursing home, how did you take that? Hearing that, was that a motivator, or was that something that kind of really got you down, experienced a severed spine and, traumatic brain injury? Is that something that really all of a sudden was a motivating factor, like, hey, I'm not going to believe this, I'm going to get up and go? Or was this I need to kind of reflect and deal, and then all of a sudden it became an empowerment?
Well, what I was told was that the MRI showed minimal brain activity, and I had a 50-50 chance of surviving and a 10% chance of not spending my life in a nursing home. And this is actually the 3-year anniversary of the first day I remember.
Wow.
April 10th of 2015. I remember waking up in the morning and looking out the window, and I asked the nurses, "Where is the snow?" And they looked at me, what? Yeah, where's the snow? What's going on? I said, no, it's April. I said, no, it's February. What's going on here? And from then on out, I just wanted my life back.
Wow.
That's it.
So you basically had almost 3 months where you just missed completely. That's
and it's like I said, the world went on. I was asleep. The world went on. And when I woke up, I just, the only thing I could do was try to move forward. And thankfully I surrounded myself with supportive people, especially my parents. I'm super thankful for them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think
they put up with a lot. They put up with a lot.
I think a great thing that you also said in that video was that's very transferable to this movement, is that every time you thought it was hard, very hard for you, you would imagine your daughters that were sitting there watching you, that they wouldn't want to see you fail. I think that that's an amazing thing that translates into this movement, because I think people really can use that as a motivating factor as well in this movement. And, hey, your children wouldn't want to see you fail. They want to see you keep fighting and doing, you know, we're translating this from necessarily the physical aspect to the mental and emotional aspect of fighting for your family, because a lot of things really do translate in the physical world and in the mental world. And so were you, I'm assuming you were able to bridge that gap as well in your fight for your daughters as well.
Yes, like I said in the video, anytime I wanted, or anytime I felt like giving up, I know there's a meme that's with a lion and a cub, and it said, when you think of giving up, think of who's watching you. Mm-hmm. And with my daughters, I thought, you know, I don't want them to see me fail. I don't want them to see me upset. I don't want them to see me give up. I want to set a good example for them. And I think that that's something that we all as parents really need to think about.
Exactly.
Setting good examples for our children. Exactly.
And I would say the other thing that I want to mention out of the video is your father. Such a great inspirational thing for a father to come out and say it best. We don't know if she will ever regain everything, but we are just thankful for what we have. I think it's so important, and it's so crucial right now to people's development, is to, even though you're down and out in this fight, be very grateful and thankful for what you have. And the more grateful and thankful for what you have, it seems like the more you gain.
Jay,
for some odd reason.
Jay, it doesn't surprise me one bit you picked up on that, because I did too right away. I absolutely honed in on that. So we're definitely connected, brother, because I thought that too. I said, what a beautiful man. And what a real genuine, that's just genuine love is what I thought, Jay. And thinking about your crash too, Stephanie, and Jay and I have talked this on previous shows. You can go back and look, little plug there for the show. We've talked about everything happens for a reason. And I'm a firm believer in that, whether it's a literal crash or a figurative one, in terms of someone like you, as I was saying to my wife, and what you went through, I was saying the other night too, is if you don't think you're here for a reason, you know, people that go through things like you have and come out the way you have, and you're just getting warmed up. So as people like you and things like that, you're an inspiration to say, wait a minute. Sometimes, as you know, I don't have to tell you, Stephanie, things change in an instant, but you can spin them your way, and you're doing that. And I know you're inspiring so many. You've already done that for me tonight.
With my parents, I know that they stood back, and I'm sure they were scared with how I would grow, what I would do. But the thing is, they stayed so strong, and that, excuse me, my allergies are horrible. That showed me what to do for my children. They looked at me and said, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You're strong. And I know for a fact that they were scared too. That like you said in the video, we don't know. But at the same time, they were supportive of me. They were encouraging to me. And I'm super blessed with awesome parents. I hope that I'm as good of a parent as they are to me. Yeah. I try.
And I'm seeing that reflection, quite frankly, in everything that I've done in talking with you for a long time. I'm seeing that reflection definitely coming out.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, you have no worries there. They did a fantastic job. Yeah, but no worries there. That's the least of your concerns.
Exactly.
You're right there.
And as a result of a lot of the different things that you've experienced, when it comes down to your fight on the custody issue, can you explain a little bit, not without getting into too much detail? We don't want to get into any defamations or anything, but we definitely want to give an idea of some of the struggle that you've been through on that side as well.
Well, after the wreck, I was very depressed and I didn't handle it very well. I'm seeing a psychologist that's really helped me to make more positive choices, to surround myself with rational and reasonable people. But that caused a lot of issues for the custody of my daughters. I was also 6 months after my wreck, I found out that I was pregnant with my 5-pound purpose, Alyssa Copeland. And she's going on 2. She's 23 months old. There was a custody dispute with her after she was born. I didn't handle everything well. I made quite a few mistakes that I'm not proud of, but I'm accepting responsibility for my mistakes and I'm learning from them. And all I want is peace. And I've never given up. I've wanted to. I've thought about it and I've wanted to, but I haven't. And I recently got news that things are going in the uphill. I'd say that we took baby steps. We took a 600-mile flight.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I call it a 600-mile flight.
Yes, because you went a long way from when I first spoke to you back in September, and I know that you've had other advocates also that you've been talking to that have been helping you, and that's a wonderful thing, but I was reminded even this week, it's and I say sometimes some things and I bring some things out, but quite frankly, when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter what an advocate tells you or what they don't tell you. It's, do you pick up the ball and run with it? And if you pick up the ball and run with it, that credit is all yours. And quite frankly, that credit in this case is all yours. And you have had a recent victory. Is that correct?
It is. That's correct. I have been given more time with my youngest, and a lot of positive things have come from that. It's to the point where my youngest father and I can be civil to each other, can be rational to each other. And that, to me, that means more than any type of verdict. I just want to co-parent effectively and rationally. And it looks like we're headed in that direction. So I'm super thankful for that.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And so I went
months without seeing her. It was a constant battle, and I really feel at peace with the situation now, that things are going in a more positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super thankful.
And that's amazing, because quite frankly, I believe that this is going to start at what they call a rock hill effect. Once the rock starts going down the hill, everything starts going with it. I really truly believe that you have reached a certain plateau where the ball is just going to roll in the right direction. So keep moving forward on that, definitely. Because I know the other two you're still in some legal issues with, and those things will be, I really truly believe that when you say, hey, look, I can actively co-parent, and show that you can actively co-parent with another parent on the youngest, I think there's no way that a court can say, hey, well, she can't actively co-parent with the other. I just don't see how that would be.
That's what I'm hoping, but what I want to encourage other people is surround yourself with reasonable, rational people. Get in touch with anyone that can help you, with like the advocates such as yourself. I also work with Michael Port and Jim Cropper. I'm super thankful for them. And you give me credit, but at the same time, I'm thankful that I surrounded myself with reasonable, rational, respectful people that were able to point me in the right direction. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But I've had advocates such as yourself go over there and drink the water. Go over there and drink the water. And I'm super thankful. I'm proud of myself for the strong woman that I've become, but I'm thankful for the people that have helped me get there.
Well, you're definitely welcome, but like I said, I think that the credit really is all yours. I'm sure that Jim and the others would definitely say that as well. I mean, we can give people advice, but at the end of the day, it's, do they take it? Do they actively run with it? I think that's a big thing, and sometimes you're going to get information from several different sources, and some may be correct and might work for you, and some of it might not. Some might not work for you at all. And it's trying to decipher what for you is the best going forward, and what advice do you need to take. And I think that's really takes a lot of mental and emotional capability to decipher between those things. I think that there's a lot of good advocates out there, and then some maybe not so many, that are out there maybe saying, hey, go to that person, or hey, go to that person. And I think more recently, some of the issues that I've had where it's come across as an advocate is I've had to say, hey, you're going to go to that person or this person as a recommendation normally, because I've kind of withdrawn myself out of being a personal advocate, because a lot of the emotional aspect involved in it. Some is very good, some can be very poor. And it really, I think a lot of the things that led me to become a personal advocate was seeing how people like yourself took that advice and ran with it and did the right thing with it. And didn't say, well, I'm not going to change that. They can't do this and they can't do that. Yeah, they kind of can. And I wanted to get that aspect across, is that, if somebody's willing to help you and they're going to give you a little advice, it's up to you to take it, whether or not to take it, and how to run with it. And I think you did. You're a freaking rock star, as Jim just said, I believe. You are. And it's absolutely true.
Now, I do want to point out that the accident didn't cause as much as any confusion that I had in my mind, but the accident did cause a depression that brought out my need for therapy. I can't take all the credit, because there have been many hands in all of this situation. Mm-hmm. But I am seeing a wonderful psychologist, and I am seeing social workers. There's nothing wrong with that. No. Seeking professional help, wow. if you're so stressed, so upset, seek professional help. My psychologist and a social worker that I work with, they're the rock stars. They're the ones that are pointing me, like the advocates like yourself. They're pointing me in the right direction. And the accident didn't cause that, but the accident brought out the need for me to seek therapy for it. So if you're depressed, if you're stressed, there is nothing wrong with seeking professional help. There is nothing wrong. You're not crazy to reach out for help. I think
that is absolutely true. I think that
there's a stigmata.
There's definitely a stigma around the fact of don't seek medical attention when you need medical attention. Hey, there's some times in your life when you cannot go through some things and that you experience, and you may need some certain level of therapy in some way, shape, or form, or an empowerment coach like Mr. Bud Veno.
Yeah, well, Jay, it's all about growth, too. It shows a lot of strength when you actually acknowledge that you don't have all the answers and that you want to grow. Yeah. Someone who didn't seek help and then something happened, everyone would say, well, why didn't you seek help? So, again, as I always say, I never try to please anybody else. Please who's in the mirror. That's what matters, and who matters to you is what's important, not you know what I mean, and who really loves you. genuinely. So you just stay that course, as we always say, Jay, to right tunnel vision. And again, I think sometimes, again, not sometimes, when things like this happen, there's a reason. You know, and I say all the time, like I said, I just said the other day to my wife, this woman was put here for a reason. People like you were put here for a reason. And you seeing somebody, as we were discussing, shows that, you know, sometimes, again, things happen and you're a big person for acknowledging it. But again, it doesn't, people look at it in the society, as we just discussed, it was a weakness. It's about growth. I need somebody to help and put me on the path because I know there's better for me out there. And I'm not reaching my full potential. I know I can with a little bit of guidance. So hats off to you. And people like you.
Yeah. And something that Michael pointed out was that the things that we talk to our therapists about can be used against us. But at the same time, if you're prepared for such situations, you can change that, because some things that I had talked to my therapist about were used against me, but I was legally prepared. I had a very good attorney that was able to object to those things. If you're pro se, if you have an attorney, whatever it is, you need to be legally prepared to approach those things. So if you tell your therapist something that could be used against you, you should probably have a reason why you thought that. Like, say hypothetically, I want to steal Jay's sunglasses. Then I need to have an explanation for the judge as to why I wanted to steal your sunglasses. Right. So it's kind of like just being prepared.
Right. And I think that there also is, there's a real problem with our family courts when it comes down to attorney-client privileges and an attorney or a client medical provider type situation, where medical providers really under the HIPAA Act should not be giving information, even under oath. That's a privilege under oath that they have taken per the HIPAA laws to not disclose certain aspects. Now, a diagnosis, absolutely sure. That's fine. We understand that you have to give a diagnosis, especially if someone is a threat to themselves or someone else. But that's not an aspect here. And what people do emotionally sometimes when they're going through some depression or some anxiety, those kind of things are natural. They're normal. The things that we go through when we go through the situation. Right. I think that a lot of it also entails what's called separation anxiety that a lot of people don't address. Separation anxiety is the anxiety and the depression that you feel because you are separated from your children. And exactly. And I think that no court of any aspect should look at that in a negative reflection. The negative reflection was because the courts did what they did to cause the issue. And I think that you are an empowerment for all the other people in this movement who have gone through some of these things that they're going through, because if you can do this and you can recover from all of this that has happened to you, surely these people in the movement can definitely recover as well. Keep moving forward every day. And I do as I have done. I use a picture. I used a picture when I was homeless. I stuck it, right here, and it was always right here. And it was the same aspect. And I use that picture every single day to say, hey, look, my kids would never give up on me. How could I ever give up on them? I think you're using the same thing with your daughters when you said, how could I give up? I mean, they're sitting right here, or I can envision them being right here. I think that that's an amazing transformation from where you have been to where you're going. And I want to definitely applaud you for definitely coming on and sharing your story with us.
If I had a penny for every time someone told me, if I were in your situation, I would have done this harmful adjective, I would probably be able to not only send my daughters to school, but purchase the school they went to.
So I just want to say a few quick things. As far as your parents, I really commend them, and bringing parents and the importance of parents in children's lives back to our movement, the empowerment that they gave you. Whether parents are together or not. When you raise children, it's not about you anymore. It's about your children. It's about, whether it's parallel parenting or co-parenting, it's about empowering our children to be the best people that they can be, to find that hope within themselves that they can't find at a time such as this. So, that's really loyal of them. And you're very, very, very lucky to have them. Also, as far as the stigma with mental health, seeking mental health treatment, I am a social worker. So one of the first things they tell us when we enter into grad school is get a social worker, get a counselor, in order to maintain a healthy state of being, especially as helpers, whether it's advocates, social workers, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, it doesn't matter, helpers in this field. You have to have somebody else that you talk to as well. You have to have somebody else that you process things with and you vent with, and that you have that ear to lean onto. So whether you are seeking someone professionally or, in a third party, keep at that. And even long after you're fully recovered, I really encourage you to stick with that, because that'll be your empowerment and your venue of advocacy that you find to aid others in being empowered and making it through these tough fights.
Yeah, I believe that as well. And I think that that's absolutely a great aspect, because this is how we kind of do in this movement and how we pay it forward, is that once you become an advocate or and you have been helped in the past by some other advocates and they've helped you, it's obviously a respectful thing to do, to come back and to pay it forward by helping the next people out. And I'm sure you're going to be doing some of that and helping the other people who come into this movement.
More than happy to.
Yes, and I know that you're going to be able to speak from really a place that nobody else can. And I think that's great.
I do want to add is that my parents never, I'm sure they had arguments, they never showed me those arguments. They never talked bad about each other. They've been together longer than dirt. And I'm sure that my dad has been upset with my mom once or twice, and I'm sure my mom has been upset with my dad once or twice. But to this day, they have never showed that to me. And even though I've been at war with my ex-husband for going on 3 years, and I've been at war with my youngest father for 2 years, I have never talked negatively about them, to my daughters. And I really think that that is helping me right now. Do I think negatively? It doesn't matter. It's not important. But I want to co-parent effectively. And I was trained by my parents. Keep it to yourself. If you don't like someone, keep it to yourself. If you don't like your children's father, mother, whatever, keep it to yourself. And that is something that has really stuck with me. And I encourage all of you. You may hate the piece of trash that is your child's father or mother, but keep it together for the kids. Even though my youngest father and I have been at war, when she points at my phone and says, Dada, I send him a video. I send him a text. Alyssa says hi. My youngest says hi. And I'm more than happy to do that. Do I like him? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I am respecting my child by trying to effectively co-parent with him.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And I was trained that way by my parents. So I'm super thankful.
Yeah, and I think that's a great aspect. And Bud, I know you were going to say something, but I think your mic was a little off here.
Yeah, how is it now?
Yeah, it's really, really muffled for some odd reason.
His allergies must be bothering him too.
Yeah, that could be it.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let me see something. Okay, let me try this.
Yeah, it might just be the headset or something. I'm not sure.
I'll just check.
Yeah, it's still not good. Still not good. Yeah, it's still not good. Yeah. Yeah, it's still definitely muffled. I'm not sure why, but we may have you log in and log out. I don't know, but I would definitely say as well what you were talking about positive influence as a co-parent is an amazing aspect, because the first thing that you asked me after you had this victory was, hey, what should my children call someone else, or the other person in the relationship or whatever, and those kind of aspects, and it's just I think that's even looking ahead, because you're trying to find out what's the dynamic here, how can I get this thing across. And I think it's just an amazing aspect to think about. And Jessie was who I got that from, advice from Jessie and her bonus parent and bonus mom. And I think that's a great way to do it. I really do.
I do too. I really don't favor the term step parent, only, for a couple of reasons. I had a bonus dad in my family. He raised me the majority of my, teenager into adult life. And now as a bonus mom myself, to put the term step, it's almost like not as good as, or, a step below. And while I may not be genetically related, there's no difference in the love and the care and the compassion I have for my biological children as I do, my bonus kids. So I say bonus kids and bonus mom because we're just as special to each other as any mom and kid.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Okay, so yeah, Bud, we got you back?
Yeah, how's that?
That's much better. Much better.
There we go. Well, Jay, what I wanted to say, if I can digress a little bit and regress, Stephanie, again, Jay, I was thinking about she was doing this. I don't know if she's ever done radio work, but she sure flows pretty well here because she's captivating. And she hits the nail on the head with all of her points and her gratitude. Again, that positivity, people discount what that leads to, that outward positive attitude and what it can do for you mentally, physically. They both translate when you stay that way. And as hard as it can be, I mean, again, I'm not even going to talk about any of the hardships I've been through after seeing Stephanie's story. And again, I know as we see a lot of people watching out there, and you mentioned Jim Cropper, who's definitely Jim is a good dude who when he has his heart into something or somebody, he's definitely all in, and he definitely has her back, and which tells me a lot there too. We've known Jim for a couple of years now, and so again, it's really truly an amazing story, Jay. And I know, like I said, you had told me about this probably over a year ago, right around there, and amazing. You're definitely a testament to strength and perseverance.
Yeah, we're getting about 5 minutes from our break here, so I just wanted to give a little heads up because there'll be a surprise here in about 5 minutes for you guys that you had no idea that was coming. So
you're delivering Starbucks to me? Oh my God! I'm so thankful.
Well,
nothing like the Bucks. I was just watching an Office episode too, where Michael said nothing like the Bucks. The episode is called Hot Girl. If anyone out there likes The Office, the episode season 1 called Hot Girl. Gotta love the Bucks.
And there's going to be some other surprises in the works for sure. But I want to definitely say thank you for Stephanie, for you coming on your empowerment story, and it is so amazing because you're still going through this. Because you're still going through the custody situation. How are you doing physically?
I walk a little slow. I have to be super careful. If I'm not paying attention to where I'm going, I can kind of stumble. My biggest problem is my right leg. But other than that, I'm pretty much okay. A lot of it has to do with it's still my depression. It still lingers. My depression lingers, but I'm right now in such a good place because of the recent victory. Nothing can bring me down.
Good deal.
Well, and Jay, what do we say too? You people say they're down. We say, stick with me, kid. Stick with me, kid. We'll get you up. And I'll tell you what, again, people that are out there, we talked about therapy earlier, Jay, and speaking to someone, again, people, and we talked about the way it's looked at in the side, don't look at it as an ailment or some sort of weakness. Look at it as, you know what, I'm not completely on my path or balanced. And that doesn't mean mentally irregular. That means I'm just not quite on my path, and I need to find someone who is good at helping people get on their path. And what, quote unquote, I don't even say what happened, do I, Jay? It's not what happened to experiences. This experience that happened to Stephanie was for a reason, because the universe, whatever you want to call it, the higher power said, okay, Stephanie, she can handle this, and she's going to empower so many. She's got bigger and better things to do. So, bang, here we go. We're going to change it up. And she has grabbed it. Again, testament to her parents and her children. And they are lucky. You're all lucky to have each other. And we were lucky to have you on tonight. Thank you so much.
Great support system, too.
Yes,
Mike
you
and
do.
Mariah, namely, Jason Chester, I have a great support system. And one thing I do want to point out, something that has really helped me, it's called dialectical behavioral therapy. It's when you get frustrated with the situation, instead of lashing out to someone, separate yourself from the situation. Say, I need a break to process this information. I will get back to you momentarily.
Right.
And so that's something that I do. It's not running from a problem. It's separating yourself from the situation so you can get into a more positive mindset.
Exactly.
That's perfect. Perfect.
It's kind of the equivalent of taking yourself out of the situation. What would somebody else do in that?
What would Jay Moss do? That's what I said. What would Jay Moss do? No, I was just having this discussion.
WWJMD.
Yes. I was just discussing this. Shout out to my friend Kevin Moran out there, and I know my friend John Mondu is watching, my Brook Village crew. John Mondu. We've all had these discussions. I just had the discussion with Kevin about a week ago about not reacting. Just because people entice you or whatever it is into an argument or a reaction, not everything needs a reaction, right? So again, we get emotional to step back, breathe a little bit. It's going to be okay, and do things with a little more calm and a little more composure, because in the end, that's what's going to help you.
That's exactly
Stephanie
right.
likes that comment.
She approves of this comment.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. And that almost brings me to an aspect. Our good friend out there, Cash Jackson, Vote for Cash. I'm going to go ahead and ring my endorsement for Cash for governor, which I know is a little bit of a shock to people. But quite frankly, there's a lot.
He's working.
There's a lot behind it.
He's working hard. I know. I follow him on Instagram too, and I know. I see him on there a lot. I went on his page the other day, and I was impressed. I mean, you cannot deny the man's work ethic, and he's in it. And he's been. I'll say that too, Mokash. He's been consistent, like in terms of what he's been doing. He follows his heart, no matter what, and you can't knock that. And again, he's gaining momentum, and we say, hey, man, keep going, brother. Keep going.
Absolutely. And I think the same thing with. The same thing here with Stephanie, and I think the momentum, like I said, I think the momentum's building, and we're going to have you come back on the show.
Oh, Jay,
when you have this next victory.
Jay, we're right on the same wavelength.
Yeah, so we'll have you come back on with the next victory, because I know that there will be one.
Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about my blog.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and give you a pump for that blog. Absolutely.
Thank you. What my psychologist told me was I need to journal more often, journal my thoughts, journal my wants, journal my needs. And when I'm alone with a pen and paper, it's a sad place. And so what I thought was, when I'm in public, just like now, I'm smiling. I smile. And so what I do when I blog is I'm basically journaling in public. So I'm smiling. It's not a fake smile. It's a real smile, because I want the world to see how happy my heart is. And so I do have a blog. It's called 5lbpurpose.com. And I share things that I learn, things that I am dealing with. It's basically an emotional support blog. It started out as a breastfeeding blog, but it's transitioned to an emotional support blog. So check it out. It's 5poundpurpose.com, 5lbpurpose.com. If you want to know more about my story, look at the About the Administrator link.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I blog about victories that I have, things that I learn, things that I'd like to accomplish. And I hope that it helps someone. That's really what I want.
Yeah.
Jay, I have discussed in the past having like the empowerment minute or whatever. So Stephanie, we'll plant those little eggs there. I'll be in touch with you. I have this feeling, because I like that energy, and I have a feeling that we can utilize each other. And who knows what the future has in store? But I tell you what, you've got some talent, you've got some heart, and there's no denying that. It's like I said, it's palpable and tangible right through the screen. So we will be talking again.
Absolutely. Definitely want to thank you for coming on. Definitely want to thank you for coming on this evening. And we'll let you go, but we want to definitely go check out that blog. Definitely some very, very good stuff on there. I've already read it myself, some of it, and it's just amazing. Her story is amazing. Get in touch with her as well. Stephanie Tilley on Facebook. And I'm sure that she and us will be in touch in the future and have her back on again. Thank you very much, Stephanie.
Thanks for having me.
All righty. All right. So I'm gonna.
Wow, Jay.
Yeah, just an amazing first half so far of the show. And
it's been great. So now we're going to go into the middle part of the show, right, Jay? And this is where we go into it. And Jay's big surprise is coming up. It's coming up. Hang on to those seats.
Absolutely.
Jay, before we go, we say we're going to sell you the whole seat, ladies and gentlemen. But you're only gonna need the edge. We'll be right back, right, Jay?
Yeah. We're going to run with this real quick here. I'm just going to hit this couple buttons real quick while I'm doing this. But we're going to roll here.
Have you ever felt? Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we're in the midsection here of our show, and I'm going to give you a big surprise here, hopefully. And hopefully she'll be able to turn on her cam here real quickly. If it'll allow her to here. All right, so now we're reaching the midpoint of our show.
Can you guys see me?
No, and it looks like it's still off here. I'm gonna go ahead and.
That's all right. Well, either way, Jay's gonna work on this and see. This is the great thing about this, Jay. Let me get my camera on myself. There we go. The great thing about this, Jay, these sort of glitches, and I told Neely this. We said in the pre-show. Mm-hmm. These sort of glitches are what we thrive on, Jay.
So now, look at that. Now you're seeing your big surprise. Definitely Miss Neely Petrie will be doing the mid part of our show here with the birthdays and the calendar of events coming up. We want to thank Neely. And before we even go to that midpoint, I want to say this. I'm so excited to have you on, because when it first came up, that we said, hey, we're kind of maybe needing somebody, and it just so happened that we were going to do something, and your name had come up, and we brought it to the board of directors, and we said unanimous vote.
Right, and no matter, even though that happened, we still have you on. No, I'm just kidding. And I say, we also, I use the word, just, I'm joking, Neely. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, in all reality and in all seriousness. And we said last night, Neely, let everybody know a little secret too. During the meeting, we don't get gussied up. So we all looked like we were ready for bed and we were comfortable. And I said to Neely, don't worry, it's just like we're sitting in your living room. And right now, we're sitting in your living room, and it's great. Yeah. Thank you for coming on. It's been wonderful.
Amazing. Yeah. So you guys are thank you. You guys are going to get an amazing treat here because Neely is going to.
I'm excited.
She's going to give you our calendar of events and our birthdays. So go ahead and take it away, Neely.
Take it away, Neely.
Yeah. Okay, guys, get your calendar out so we can write these down. It's really important that we make it to, and we all are supporting each other and being positive. So get your calendar out. If you are by these important, April 25th, which is a Wednesday, between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be a Pennsylvania, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the Parental Alienation Awareness Day rally at the State Capitol Rotunda. See Stephen Meehan for more details. He's the chair of the National Parents Organization. Again, his name is Stephen Meehan. We have coming up April 27th, which is a Friday. We have the Parental Alienation Awareness Conference in Erie, Pennsylvania. It starts at 7 a.m. and it is at the Zim Zim Shrine Club. See Rita Maria Daly for more details. Okay, we have May 20th. Which is a Sunday. It is Capitals for Kids, starting at 11 a.m. Holiday Inn, Alexandria, Old Town. So Alexandria, Virginia. Please see Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, $5 and $50. So make sure you get them now. We have June 8th, which is a Friday. We have Remember Baby Stefan. Children Need Their Families. 2 p.m. Nashville, Tennessee. Please see Ed Elliott for more details. That's actually my twin's birthday, June 8th. So maybe I can get them to come join us at that one. Today, birthdays. Today we have D. Prince. Happy birthday. C.J. Williams. Elizabeth Renee, Melissa Diaz, Jennifer, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Angel Morales. Wednesday, we have Robert Reinhardt, Alexander Gonzalez, Trevino, Kim Weaver, Sharon Novak, and Sean Willard. Thursday, Sherry Clemish, Laura Deusley, David Shabert, Dana Floral, Liam Swords, and Alice Bowman. Friday birthdays, Aaron Archer, Sarah Alexander, Daryl Kessinger. Saturday, we have Melanie Ross, Audrey Dupre, Joe Barrow, Dan Afshir, Nicole Elagink. I cannot pronounce that name. That last name is a hard one. Sunday, we have Robert Farrell, Manny Maria, Eric Adamson, Alicia Robinson Weatherford, Diana Ordway. Monday, we have Michael Conley, Pam Pirrick, Verdina Beadell, Jeremiah Blackwood. And so there we have the birthdays for this coming up week. And I we also have to say this, the Far From Normal radio show is copyright. All broadcast of the show is strictly prohibited without express written instructors. So let's make sure we don't do that.
Absolutely.
So, awesome. Thank you guys for
great job. Great job on the first time. You're rocking it through.
But I appreciate it.
Awesome. Great job.
I'm happy to join you guys. And this Stephanie, she was awesome. You know,
yes.
It's very good to hear, you know, people that have stories, to hear other people's stories, because it is so important. It gives you momentum for the kids and for the, you know, for our children, you know, for our country, and it's just really important. So I just want to thank Stephanie, because I've got a problem with my phone is always going off, and I just need to cut my phone off when I'm in the car, you know.
That's absolutely true. It was a great message.
Right.
Great message. Definitely thank you so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate it, and doing the middle part. Our original thought and idea was having Neely as just a secretary, but as you can see, she is so much more.
Well, Jay,
utilizing that.
Again, a bullseye by Jay Moss. He was watching. He had mentioned Neely to me a long time ago. Jay usually does that. He puts little eggs in my head, and then he waits for them to hatch. He just keeps nurturing and warming those eggs, and they finally hatch. And again, awesome job. I said to my wife on the way in, I said, "Well, she's doing great," because my wife has watched it. Absolutely fantastic. I said, yesterday we said, be calm, Neely. Looks like she's done this forever. This is wonderful. We're going to have Neely on. This is going to be a permanent thing. Hopefully, we'll keep her on. We'll keep her entertained. She was awesome. You were smooth as cream cheese on a warm bagel, my friend. Good job. Good job.
and awesome. And I know that she's going to be filling in for Pete McNeil. Definitely. Pete's out on hiatus, but we have kept in touch with him. He had 2 cases going on today. And we haven't gotten in touch with him yet, but I'm sure that they went okay.
I just saw. I just saw that he chimed in somewhere. I saw his name come across. And I used the word yesterday with Stephanie, serendipitous. It is in terms of how everything worked out with Neely and the hiatus Pete had to take. That was very much by chance in terms of how it lined up. It seems very much like it was a sort of a thing that was plugged in there, but it actually it just kind of, right, Jay? What's the word? Organically happened, and that's the way it usually does with us. That's the way we don't like to force things. This is a nice, smooth energy, and it's going to continue that way. I'm really excited. Thank you again, Neely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And we're going to go ahead and go in with the second half here of the show as soon as I can get my doggone camera thing here to work. I have, like, if you guys don't know, in order to operate this show, sometimes you need like something set up like Darth Vader's bathroom or something, because you need like 50 screens. But unfortunately, I have 2.
Jesse, we just blame Pete anyway, right, Jess? Everybody, just wait, especially since he's not here. He takes it. Even when he's here, but he's smiling right now. I know he's laughing. Brother Pete, I see you out there watching. I can feel you because it gets hot, right?
And so much different stuff, guys, going on here. I'm really kind of I'm taken back a lot of the different stuff that's going on right now. I don't know about you guys, but I was going to talk a little bit this evening about Trump's lawyer's office was raided, unfortunately. That was a crazy thing that happened within the last couple of days by Robert Mueller and the FBI. So Trump's lawyer's office was raided. That was going on. The congressional meeting today with Mark Zuckerberg, unfortunately, which we're broadcasting live on Facebook.
Yeah, I watched a little of that earlier. Yes,
and
he was on the hot seat.
Yes, he was, and it was a little interesting what was being said today, because I believe Senator Ted Cruz had confronted him on the fact of different maybe biases towards one political party or not. And then that was an amazing thing to watch. And it was almost like you could see, it's almost like you could see, and you couldn't even see them, but you could see his palms sweating.
Well, you could actually hear the air suck out of the room. Yeah, you could hear the air suck out. But I did watch parts of it where Zuckerberg, he's kind of like, well, I'm just a kid who started this in my dorm room. Like, what do you want? Like, it's really hard. Yeah. So, but I plan on watching a little more. I know they're going to rebroadcast it. I believe there's a few just different stations that will. Jessie, what do you think about all that, the whole Facebook thing? Because I know you have some history involving Facebook, and particularly your husband. So, what do you think?
We all know that in the family law system and in front of our great judges in the family court system, that ignorance is not an excuse. Ignorance, which lawyers describe to be, in my interpretation, is only acceptable if you're an attorney. It's not acceptable if you're a parent or the defendant or whatever you want to call yourself. Unless you're an attorney, my interpretation doesn't fly.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a difference between family court, obviously, and some of these so-called investigations, because I think that they're trying to do them on a criminal aspect. And so you've got two separate court systems where you're talking about criminal aspect and then you're talking about civil aspect. But then why is it in our particular society where you have a better standard for the criminal court of due process than you have in the family court? And
representation.
Yeah. And if you go to the family court, you don't get appointed an attorney if you can't afford one. You don't get the right really to remain silent. You basically are told that you have to give your discovery of information over, which means that you have to basically, you cannot invoke the Fifth Amendment. So you're pretty much at a issue of being told that you must incriminate yourself.
Listen,
it's unfortunate.
Jay, I myself, as a non-party to a case, right? I was not subject to any jurisdictional, oversight at all. Was ordered by Florida, Pasco County 6th Judicial Court Judge Larley Weston to disclose my social security number, date of birth, along with all of my children's social security numbers, names, date of births, everything, to my husband's ex-wife. So she's now walking around with all of our personal information.
Wow. So here's the point that I kind of want to make. If you are going through the family court system and you've got if you're going through the family court system and you've got an issue in which you're going in there, you've got a new wife or a new husband, and they have to somehow give their social security numbers. They have to give where they work, how much income they make. Why is that a factor? Because quite frankly, what they made beforehand was not taken into consideration. They weren't part of that original family unit. The original family unit was you and your ex, and you and your ex are what is used to make the income withholding or whatever it should be. But whenever some of these states, such as Illinois being one of them, whenever you get married, you end up having the income of both parties. Like if they have a new wife or a new husband, that income is taken into account. So it's the household income now that's supporting the other person who may not be getting married just because of the simple fact they don't want their new husband or new wife to have to accrue any income back and forth. So they're purposefully not getting married, or, for whatever reason. They may be dating, they may be going out with somebody, but as long as they're not married, it's not still household income. But over here, it is household income. And so that's what's taken into account. And it's unfortunate because that means the new wife or the new husband, they're having their income basically robbed from them to give to the other party just in order to take care of a child that they should be getting 50% of the time anyway, and taking care of during the time while they have them. That just makes no legitimate sense. It's called illegal wealth redistribution made legal.
Yep.
And I think that this is the whole child support aspect, I think boils down to an issue of where we're talking about custody, whether or not custody is 50-50 or not. And it's unfortunate because they say in the legal system that child support does not equal child custody. Child custody does not equal child support. Well, that's not the fact. Let's get down to brass tacks here, because quite frankly, they are intertwined. The reason that they are intertwined is because you could, if you had 50-50 custody, most of the time, both parents would retain their own income for the most part if it's an equal amount. Now, if there's an exorbitant amount more that one parent's making than the other, okay, of course, there's going to be some support issues there. But if you're having an issue where both parents' income are pretty close to the same, why would you take income away from one parent to give to the other parent when the custody is equal? Both parents have to provide shelter. Both parents have to provide food. Both parents have to provide clothing. Both parents have to provide medical care while they have the children. You're impeding one parent's ability to be a good co-parent. So then you wonder why there's such animosity that goes on. You wonder why that parent always goes and there's perpetual litigation. It's because they feel as if they're being treated unjustly. And that's absolutely positively true.
Well, I think, Jay, also, we can't really lose sight of the financial aspect of it. I mean, I posted all over the place. When a state is making almost $35 million in simply the collection of child support per year, there's a problem. You know, not only that, but do you know, dads, moms, when you go to pay your child support and you're charged 3.5% to use your debit card, you know those, they're actually only paying 1.5%, and the state is making that 2% extra. So they're making that 35 million plus another 2% on top of that. Like, let's not lose sight of what this is really about. This is all about money.
Right. And I think that a lot of it is about money. It's about the perpetual litigation that within the family court systems, because this is how attorneys can continue to rack up billable hours. So when you have an aspect of where an attorney can continue to rack up those billable hours, because we know one parent was found necessarily to not, even though there was not a fitness hearing, one parent was given the primary custody and has the children most of the time. The other parent was given one night a week and every other weekend. But that you're already depriving that parent, giving them one night a week and every other weekend, and then saying on top of that, I'm going to take your income and I'm going to give it to the other parent. You're already being robbed once. Now you're going to be robbed twice, robbed of your time with your children and robbed of your money and your income to give to the other person who's probably not going to spend that money on the children like they should. There are some parents that do, and I'm not going to say that that's because there's so many people that like to speak in generalities. That's not always the case. Some people are very responsible, and that's great. But the aspect is you've got to understand why this parent over here who has been deprived of the time is trying to keep continuing to go back into court demanding their due process rights. I really firmly believe that they do that for a particular reason, and it is perpetual litigation. That's why we have a lot of these shared parenting bills coming out, trying to speak on the issues of, if we can just move that needle, primarily move that needle from being a situation where you've got a custodial or non-custodial parent, or whatever they want to say, primary parent, non-primary parent, whatever it may be, per state. If you've got that and you move the needle towards equality, I really truly believe that's going to stop a lot of the perpetual litigation. And that's why these attorneys hate it. They hate it because that's how they make their money.
You know, Jay, I did a lot of research a while back on Florida bar and how they, I was really interested, actually. My goal was to find out what kind of material is given to our judges to train them in making the best interest decisions relating to our children. And I have over here, if you want me to grab them, I could show you, stacks and stacks. Absolutely. And stacks for the last decade on the pre-test, the study guides that the Florida Family Bar Association Family Law Section has distributed as the study guide for the bar test. And do you know, beginning earlier, before this movement got big and really grabbed some momentum, it said that Florida starts with the presumption of equal time sharing. And then we go through about a 10-year gap where it's not even addressed at all. And then all of a sudden we go back to Florida starts with the presumption of equal time sharing. Yet nowhere in our laws does that exist. And our great governor, Rick Scott, who I love so much.
Jess, is he coming over? Is it dinner Friday? Is that at your house or his this weekend? I wasn't sure I wasn't sure how the swap works.
You know, he just actually announced that he's running for Senate. So on top of passing, equal time sharing this legislative session, my next goal will be to make sure that he does not ascertain that seat.
Yeah, I would imagine that's got to be the biggest thing for you in Florida. Rick Scott, if you don't know about Rick Scott, call Jessie.
I was waiting for this big fun. That's probably the best thing to say, Jay. Yes.
Yeah.
Call Jessie. She'll tell you.
Oh, hold on about that. Sorry about that.
So it was really interesting for me to see that the Florida bar in many aspects supported equal time sharing. But then when it came down to it, in every year that an equal time sharing bill was presented to the state of Florida and to the governor to be signed into law, the Florida bar took that out of the study exam. And I have the last 12 years, I have each and every study exam printed out.
Yeah, and I think that you're right, and I've gone over this quite a bit, and the interesting thing was, Stephanie Tilley, who we just had on, I had contacted her attorney before because evidently I was giving her a few different things on information early on, and she had contacted me and said, "Hey, can you contact my attorney? He's asking about where I'm getting this information, blah blah blah." So I called him, and then I said, you have to explain this to attorneys. Look, I'm an advocate within the movement. I'm not a bar attorney. I do not practice law. What I do advocate for is for equal share parenting. I do not advocate not paying child support, or I do not advocate for not supporting your children. Let me put it that way. I do not advocate for not supporting your children, but I advocate for the government was not there when you made your children. You should take care of your children when you have them. That's what I advocate for. The government was not there right at the bed doing this number, telling you what you should or should not do when those children were I'm not even going to go into that, but quite frankly, you know what they were not there. So quite frankly, if they're not going to give the advice, then
if they were there, Jay, if they were there, they'd be the ones looking for a therapist. Believe me.
Let me tell you, because this is the kind of course I am. They were probably there in some form.
Yeah, they probably were. I have a smart TV. I make sure I don't cover anything up. I turn all the lights on, baby. You want to watch? I'm going to give you a show.
Oh, so awesome. And I just can't go over some of these attorneys though. And I did have to say, hey, look, here's the deal. Here's the due process. Here's this, there's that. And I'm sure other advocates probably did that same thing and that same advice. So I'm not speaking out of context when I'm saying that, but what I am saying is that sometimes you have to spell a lot of these different things out for attorneys. Unfortunately, they do not protect federal law. They are violating federal law. 18 USC 241 will definitely tell you that if they're violating a federal law, it is conspiracy to commit fraud. And so as such, if it results in death, which many of our veterans go through, suicide issues, their families have every single right to file a lawsuit in reference to that for the child support issues that they were put under such strain and emotional distress. And they have every right to do so. I believe also that those same strict penalties should apply to all of these judges. And I hate to say that. There's a lot of people who are out there within the movement who don't necessarily believe that they have some type of immunity, some sovereign immunity, quite frankly. There's no sovereign immunity. There's just no sovereign immunity for judges. It's just not a truthful fact. They, as a public official, do have some constraint, some protections under the law, but when they violate due process rights, when they step over the bounds of their jurisdiction, they open themselves up to a civil trial in their personal capacity. So that's when they're stepping over the bounds. When they're stepping over the bounds of being a judge in the jurisdiction of that case, and then they walk out here and they start talking about federal law that they're violating. No, you're outside of the scope. That opens you up to a lawsuit in that capacity. And a lot of these things we kind of got to explain to some of these attorneys, because I think, unfortunately, and how I describe this to these attorneys, and I can tell you that Melissa Isaac, Connie Regularly are amazing attorneys, but even they would tell you a lot of the same things that they learned in law school is out there and is easily accessible for you on the internet right now today. It's easily out there. It's easily ready. It's easily accessible. The difference comes in when they've been trained to learn how to create it as a business. It's a business platform. And so you have to learn how to do business along with practicing the law. And those are the things that separate an attorney from being, not just being the average Joe on the street, per se.
I think some of the things too, Jay, in the same way that news is filtered to us and we talk about attorneys, information is filtered to attorneys too, whether it's in law school, seminars, emails, trainings, understanding the best interest. So sometimes, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Yeah. Sometimes we have new attorneys in the field who are, they're what I refer to as green, yes. And they only know what they've learned out of school. So the bar is really molding these people into an army of uniformed troops that take on the same perception and the same condemnation of predominantly fathers in this movement. And it doesn't matter how good a father is when you go to court. You are damned from the beginning,
Right. And I'd say that in some aspects, in some of these women. And I think what I've found is in doing my investigation and homework with this, I don't think it's even just the state anymore. I really think particularly they've got it down to county. There are certain counties, especially Cook County in Illinois, is very, very horrible on women. very horrible on women. I know probably about 5 or 6 who are in this movement who are in Cook County, Illinois, who have been deprived of 50-50 custody for no real particular reasons and never had a fitness hearing of both parents. It's unfortunate, but what we're finding is, I think a lot of these aspects, there are some very good attorneys out there, and there's some very, very bad attorneys out there. And the difference between the two is the personal relationship, number one. When you come to your attorney and you ask him to take on your case, if he's the kind of guy who says, hey, look, I'm going to help you, we're going to figure this out, and he comes across the desk and give you a big hug, that's the attorney you want. If you've got an attorney who says, well, I don't really know what I can do for you, but we'll give it a shot, run as fast as you can. Run as fast.
Yeah, well, also too, Jay, be leery of people who tell you everything you want to hear and that can get you everything. And, have someone that you know.
For nothing. My husband had two of these attorneys, 2.
Right. And I say, Jay, what do we always say too, Jess and Jay? Go with your gut, right? Ultimately. If something feels off, it is. And it's the same way with the relationships. But remember, you're hiring this person. So, do your homework and hire the right person who's right for you.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the same aspect comes in too. And I heard this great person who I admire, and I won't even name who they are. But you have exes that are just about themselves, and it's all about money, and it all becomes a certain aspect, and you've got to say to yourself, look, you will never see a hearse being followed by a U-Haul. It's just not going to happen. You can't take it with you when you go. And you've got to learn that even in this movement, because there's a lot of times in this movement where you are holding on to your worldly possessions, like we talked about Stephanie in her video. Sometimes you're holding on to some of those worldly possessions that you have packed up in the garage. And quite frankly, you can't take any of those things with you. You can't take
Jay, yeah.
And it's all about the memories.
Yeah, I always say that too. I say, you know what? I'm not going to be holding a checkbook when I die. I'm going to be holding my wife's hand, my boys. I'm going to go out my way with a smile, whispering with their names with my last breath. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do it my way. And again, as Jay said, collect memories, not things, right, Jay? There's that saying out there, and that's the truth. It's good to have a nice, healthy respect for money in terms of the different things that it can do for you, but not let it run you. And again, the world, unfortunately, is run on money and greed right now. But hopefully, over some chiseling and over time and some chiseling, we can get that switch and people can refocus on what's actually really important. And I think we're starting to do that now, Jay, when you see the breakthroughs. Again, we always mention Mark Ludwig and Americans for Equal Shared Parenting. Mm-hmm. Amazing work, and work that's being done so quickly that it's very literally hard to keep up with. And that's a great problem to have. There's people I know, the Fathers' Rights Movement, the men and women within the Fathers' Rights Movement that work tirelessly all over the country, all over the world. So again, it's these sort of organizations, the smaller ones in numbers, the bigger ones in numbers, all coming together for the common cause, which is ultimately the betterment of our children.
Exactly.
Physically, spiritually, in every way. Exactly. So they can carry on.
Yeah.
Do better than we did.
And we were talking about that beforehand because I really, truly believe that you and Jessie, for sure, will be in Washington, D.C. on May the 20th for that event out there. And so we're going to be having some conversations with Mark and seeing if we can set up a table, and we'll try and see if we can do some interviews out there live. We'll do a live show, hopefully right before that all transpires and happens. We'll do that show so that we can do some interviews with you all when you come there. So we'll love to do that. Love to speak to you. I know if I cannot be there and I have to be doing this remotely from here, we definitely have 2 representatives for sure that will be the Far From Home Radio.
Yes, Jess knows. I already said. I think it was privately. It might have been on the area already. I said, I'm going to go to Jay. I'm going to go to Illinois and throw you over my shoulder, Jay, if I have to run with you. DC. I might be tired, but we're going to either way. It's going to be great. And again, I have to reach out to Mr. Mark Ludwig, like you said. And I believe he sent me an email. I keep meaning to get to that. So, Mr. Ludwig, I apologize. I know he understands. So I have to get to that, and I also have to reach out to him in reference to location, how we can do it. I know he's been very supportive, and he will be in this. I know we've had conversations about this already, and he's all for it, and we're all for him, and everybody else there fighting for the common cause, the good cause, our children.
And it's so amazing that we want to get a lot of your stories or a lot of the things, and we've always said this about our show, that it's not our show, it's your show. It is your show. This is the voice of the movement. We just get blessed to be the host of the show, and we're very lucky to land in such an amazing spot to be able to come to you every week. We've been blessed more than we can ever say, because we do this as therapy. That shows how nuts we are.
Well, Jay, it's funny because I see it. I'm glad you said that too, because we see all the time where people say, "Oh," and they really enjoy it, and they're going to kick out of the show, and also we have a lot of people that learn a lot from the show, and and they thank us for it. But I got to thank the people out there, because I look forward to this. It's not just, it's very much reciprocated in terms of the feelings the folks give me. It's in terms of how I feel about them and vice versa. I love seeing the comments and just the positive energy and people bantering within the comments and educating each other and kind of meeting each other, Jay. It's a wonderful thing. The networking, you see people meet right within the comments. Hey, message me, whatever. And the momentum and the positive energy just keeps going. Keeps going.
I've seen a lot of different things here. Looks like Brian Kinter had talked to a few people. Love Brian and what he's doing. Let's see here. We've got Michael R. Port.
I have to say, Michael, thank you. He said a comment. He said this a comment about my glasses. Because it's funny that he said that, because when somebody talks about your glasses too, I said, well, I might have to take Jay's glasses. I haven't seen them a lot, but they might be pretty cool. So, and also Jim Cropper, the bomb dropper out there, he sent me a picture. I had to black my screen out because it was actually a real picture. It was Zuckerberg on a booster seat in Congress. It was a side view, and Zuckerberg was propped up on it. And I'm trying to quickly. I almost knocked my phone over. So thank you, Jim Cropper, the bomb dropper out there, for that. That was awesome. And again, we love the comments. We love seeing them. And that's one thing I know that Neely's going to be doing, is reading some of the comments when we get her rolling, which is something that Pete was doing. And I know people enjoy it. We do too. We love the interaction.
We definitely love the interaction, and I think that we're going to be doing more on this. And I guess down the road here, and I don't have the exact name with me because we've been contacting so many people lately to be on the show. But I can tell you, coming up very shortly, not this month, I believe it is in May, we will have a very famous comedian on the show.
Yeah.
That is already lined up, and so you better keep your eyes out for that one, because it's already lined up.
That's exciting. Yeah, Jay's been it's getting the momentum again with the show too. It's getting better and better. And Jay keeps coming to us. I wait when he's like, "You ready?" In private message, "You ready, guys? Ready for this one?" And I'm and then he'll go away for 10 minutes. Say, "Jay, last was on 5 minutes." I'm like, "Oh," and he makes us wait. I swear he does it on purpose. He's probably watching me through my smart TV and see how I'm reacting to it. So
I've got a deal.
I'm often contacted through the Florida Fathers' Rights page, and I'm asked, well, what can I do for this movement? What can I do for this movement? And really, I think, Jay, you're a veteran, and I think having two united goals for maybe this year may be a good direction for us to begin to discuss and, contemplate and develop a plan of action, because for me, for this, upcoming legislative session, I'd really like to focus on, two things: equal time sharing and stopping states from using VA disability for child support.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I think those are amazing concepts. And I kind of went into a few of the things on that. I don't know if I can even still see what I've got going on. I get like 100 messages sometimes while we're doing the show.
Well, Jay, I give hats off to Jay Peace. I've got the easy job, but Jay's got he does more than multitask. So hats off to Jay as those comments are funneling through too. Again, keep them coming. Keep them coming every week, Jay.
Yeah.
Again,
yeah,
we do go through them after, and we've got a few different eyes on that. We appreciate them. Again, it's great to see the interaction. Again, as Jay said, it's not just our show. We're just the ones who helm it, and you guys are the ones who interact and make it. So let's keep making it. We're having a really consistent numbers in terms of people that are viewing the show, and it's great to see. And I hope you keep enjoying it because it's going to keep getting better and better with Jay's little surprises that he has every week.
Little surprise.
Yeah. Jay likes to.
Neely's a great one. Amazing one tonight. I thought it was a fantastic surprise because we have amazing people who have definitely followed Neely. Neely, I don't know if anybody else knows or follows or not, but Neely did an amazing live feed when Paul Cummings went to jail. It blew me away, and it just sent the light off. That hey, this young lady is very talented. She's got her stuff together, and I think that kind of clicked in my head that maybe this is somebody we need to kind of start taking a look at.
Yeah,
we do that from time to time.
Yeah, Jay will usually and vice versa will reach out, and Jessie's done it with a few different guests and people like that too. We implore her in the future. I know she's going to do even more. Is when we have a gut feeling, kind of plant those seeds, as I said.
I think
and
that's
say, hey,
how I got here.
Well, Jessie was the quickest. Yeah, I think we already had you signed before the show was over. I think I was messaging Jay like while you were on. No, Jay. That was a no-brainer. That we didn't discuss that. That was just, hey, guess what? I think, yeah, me too. It's cool. Let's grab her. Hurry up before someone else does.
Exactly, and I think that some of the people in the movement that we see or we go by, the Far From Normal radio show and its hosts and the board of directors are all people who stay completely out of the drama of this movement, and they're all goal oriented, trying to get to the main prize. The main prize out there at the end of the finish line is your children, and those are the people who are trying to shoot for different things, and that's what we're about. That's what we're definitely about.
Right, absolutely, Jay.
So if you are one of those people, and we kind of take a look, and don't be surprised if you're getting a phone call from Moss or Bud Veno.
Yeah, and feel free, people that do it all the time too, feel free to send information about yourself. If you want to be on the show, you want to be a future guest, we're booking out now, which we do. And also, if you think you have some talent, maybe just throw something together, throw it our way. You never know.
Yeah.
But also, don't be patient, because sometimes it takes us a while to get back. And personally too, I know certain people out there are saying, oh boy, again, like my friend Brian Peasley out there, who I know is watching. How you doing, Brian? I will be contacting Brian tonight. And I'm excited to do it. So again, be patient and put it out there and see what sticks. Everybody's got talent. Everybody has a place.
That's absolutely true. And I wanted to also mention and get back to what Jessie was saying as far as the veterans benefits going forward. I've had even an attorney that we have had on the air here, unfortunately. We brought him on, unfortunately, because he is out of the state of Illinois and maybe not being so truthful in some of the approach of this movement.
Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about.
But we had called it out, and we did what we needed to do on that, and we moved on. And that's kind of how we do that. But the approach on veterans benefits is this: you've got to educate yourself on this and understand that it's federal law. What they like to do on a lot of their cases out there is quote a 1987 Supreme Court case called Rose versus Rose. The only problem with Rose versus Rose is the fact that both of the pillars of that Supreme Court case, which are two federal laws, are no longer in existence. They've been repealed and replaced.
1985, right.
So when you have those particular issues, in fact, they tried to even, the Bar Association has tried to go out there and recreate history.
Yes, they have.
They've gone out there and they've said, okay, back in the case of this, and in Rose versus Rose, we quoted this case number. Well, that wasn't, you can't even quote 42 USC 659A because that wasn't even established until 1991, and Rose versus Rose was in 1987. You couldn't have had that law then. It was 3 years before it even became on the books. What was actually quoted was 42 USC 657, which was repealed and replaced by 42 USC 659. And then in 1993, it was added 42 USC 659 H1BIII, which says no Title 38 periodic benefits can be used for. And that's the child support law. So quite frankly, what they're saying is in 38 USC 511 as well, which replaced what was used in that case, which was 38 USC 211, it was repealed and replaced by 38 USC 511, which is actually the guide that states only the Secretary of the Department of Veteran Affairs can make all decisions in all matters. No other court can even review it.
Even review it.
Yes. Under
But that's the
federal law.
problem. Like with states like Florida with 61.046 now 8, because it was, changed this past year.
Mhm.
They have excluded that one segment. Therefore, they feel it is lawful and not unlawful, and constitutional and not unconstitutional to use that statement because they excluded it. I actually have just messaged Representative Danny Burgess, because he leads the Veteran Caucus here in Florida, to meet with him to actually discuss this measure to pass legislation making it unlawful to have 61.04678 because the Attorney General Pam Bondi refuses to acknowledge my question of constitutionality of the law, no matter how many times I have emailed her or questioned her or sent it to her or anything of that nature.
Right. And I think that's generally because of the aspect in Rose versus Rose, where they say, as far as constitutionality, it doesn't infringe upon the supremacy clause because surely, veterans would take care of their children. We'll gladly take care of our children.
Process.
Right. That and see, here's the problem with the apportionment process with the Secretary of the Department of Veteran Affairs. From their perspective is that if you are an ex-wife, you're no longer a wife. So you're not getting paid for benefits for an ex-wife. You're getting paid benefits for a wife. Wife and children, not ex-wife and children. And so their aspect in the Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs is they will always deny an apportionment because of that.
My husband's ex-wife receives an apportionment every month.
Oh, so if she's receiving an apportionment, why is she getting child support on top of that?
That's my same question, along with why has my husband been jailed for not paying this child support, along with why doesn't he have a driver's license, along with why can't he get a passport, along with why does he keep hitting his credit?
Yeah, and that's another aspect that a lot of people don't know. Is that when you get behind on child support and the Title 4D benefits kick in, and you've got the Bradley Amendment that kicks in, guess what this does? It starts hurting that person's credit. And it shows up on your credit report. It shows up as the state child support agency. Trust me. And these things will hurt your credit. You can't buy a house. You can't get a car. You can't do anything. You are in suppression financially. And they suppress you to the point.
And myself as an innocent party can't do any of these things either, because we are a married couple. So anything I apply for, he has to apply for. And if he doesn't qualify, then I don't qualify. Even if my credit and income make up for the compensation of his, we're just flat out assed out.
Right.
We're assed out.
Exactly. And that's why the veterans issue is such a big deal, because the oppression that has happened through these issues of not paying attention to the federal law. If you get into those aspects, we've got 17 veterans a day who commit suicide because of the family court systems. 17. That's enough to fill a football stadium in a year, people. It's time that we start protecting our veterans. And once that happens, it's going to open up a loophole for helping everyone else down the road. I really, truly believe that. Sometimes it's like, poking a little hole in the dam, and then all of a sudden it becomes a flood. I really, truly believe that will happen. This is a way that we can accomplish it. I think 50-50 also, a lot of these 50-50 shared parenting deals will definitely help that as well. I think another aspect as well that can definitely help is what's called the income shares module. If your state does not have an income shares module, you probably need that. And then once it goes to 50-50 custody, you'll see a huge, massive difference. Even if you're awarded 50-50 and there still is a child support, it will drastically be reduced. Drastically. Those are some great aspects that we have going forward. Those are some of the ideas and thoughts that we have in our heads that we're skewing with and doing different things behind the scenes that probably nobody even knows about, and how far we're going on those things. So I definitely want to get to our shout outs real quick here, and I've got to find and grab my phone real quick. So Mr. Bud Veno, I'm going to give you the time, my brother.
Yo, April 10th, 2018, Jay. We're over already. My goodness. Well, here we go with the shout-outs. First and foremost, my man, my brother from another mother, Jay Money Moss. My sister from another Mr. Jessie Weiner. Pete McNeil, we love you. And the rookie, Neely, thank you for coming on. And also, we're going to have her on more consistently. It's going to be great. Stephanie Tilley, thank you for coming on. We're going to be talking soon. Inspirational, empowering, wonderful, awesome. To my BBC out there, my Brook Village crew, John Mondu, Sean McAndrew, Aaron, the King Roberts, everybody out there in Nashville, right outside of Beantown, Boston, baby. Keep your chins up. My brother Kevin Moran. Jim Cropper, the bomb dropper. We love Jim out there. We've mentioned him tonight. We're going to mention him again. Everybody, Daddy's Fight out there, Logan Brochu. The Far From Normal Radio Show, the page, we're getting near 1,100, Jay and Jesse, which is great. Parents United Worldwide pushing 5,000 people. Awesome. Keep it up. Come get empowered. Courtney and Dan out there, who I spoke to the other day. That was great. Solomon from Spectrum Cable hooked me up this week. Helped me out. Awesome. Again, Brian Peasley. I promised him I'd give him a shout out. So there you go, Solomon. Thank you. He helped me out. It was great. And Jay knows about that too, so that's good. Again, Brian Peasley out there. And everybody out there, again, Mark Ludwig, American Speak Will Share Parenting, and there's a few more people, 3 more, to my beautiful wife, Allison. I love you, baby. 12 years together. Love you. And to my littlest bestest buddy, Mason. I love you, little guy, my right-hand man. And to my biggest, bestest buddy, Carter, my left-hand man. He's sick tonight. I love you, pal. Daddy's with you. Wish I could be snuggling with you right now, but we'll be doing it again soon. To everybody out there, chins up. Never quit. It's not over till you say it's over. And I didn't hear no bell. Get up. Love you guys.
He gets the whip. Awesome. All right, so we're down to Miss Jessie Weiner.
I think from now on, I'm going to protest and go first, because how am I supposed to follow that?
Well, it's the call. You go out calming. It's everybody calm down. We go way up, and then we do nice and smooth on the way out.
I don't think it works like that. So here's what it is. To each and every person here, that's just it. We keep doing what we do because of you guys, not because it's self-serving. It's really to serve a purpose, and that's to, help everybody in this movement. That's what we want. We want our children to have a better future and just to pave the way. I could name 1,000 people all day long, but I think Bud already did do that because he's awesome like that. And he has a way better memory than I do.
Yeah.
But that's just it. I can't wait to meet you all in Washington, and this is gonna be a great time.
Awesome. And she gets the parrot for living in Florida. Awesome stuff. I am so thankful for Miss Stephanie Tilley for coming on this evening. Just an amazing first half of our show. Definitely Neely Petrie for coming on and being part of our staff. She did an amazing job during the middle of the show. You will continue to see more and more out of her as well. Definitely want to thank Americans for Equal Share Parenting, Clean Law, Dads Can Too, Disgusted Dads, E-Clause, the Future of Our Children's Radio Network, Illinois Fathers for Equality, MAFA, National Parents Organization. Definitely want to thank my buddy here, my brother from another mother on Parents United Worldwide. Awesome stuff, Mr. Bud Veno. Definitely want to thank my other brother from another mother, Mr. Peter McNeil, and his hiatus. I'm sure he will be back shortly with us. Right now he's out on hiatus because he has some stuff going on in his case, but you will be seeing him very, very shortly, trust me. And when that does happen, not a problem. We have other ways and avenues of working Neely into the show as well still. So we're going to do different things, different aspects. We're going to bring you different entertainers. We're going to bring you different people from the movement. We're going to bring you everything that we possibly can because you are worth it in this movement. Everyone is worth it in this movement. And I want to say that with the utmost sincerity that you are worth it. As we always sign off with the Far From Normal radio show, you are important, you are loved, and you are cared about. God bless, guys.